Hi, it's Lisa. So, the last thing that anybody would want to do, including me, is post an extremely vulnerable video of themselves for the world to see, strangers. But here I am, I'm going to do it because it's important that we get the message out. And it's important that people feel heard and supported. So I just watched a YouTube video. I really, really recommend that you watch it, you try and watch it. So it's Dr. John Campbell. He's a British doctor. And in this particular video, he interviews a British man, like textbook health. He was a physiotherapist. I think he said he worked out 3 times a day. He had a resting heartbeat of 30. Like, who does that? Total textbook picture of health until he had the COVID vaccination. And listening to him talk, his symptoms were exactly like mine. Exactly. They presented exactly the same way. And he also, from the medical community, received, I don't know, I would call them insults. Oh, well, it's all in your head. Like, I know one of the primary care doctors in the clinic that I go to, this was back, actually, I think I was put in the hospital that same week or later that week. But I was there. My neurological symptoms were so bad, I could hardly stand. Like, I was falling all the time. I had numbness and tingling sensation everywhere, like even the roof of my mouth, my tongue, like my entire body. And he said, I really think a counselor might be able to help you. Like, what? Why would a counselor help me? This is not my mind. And then he said, well, you can control pain. If you're feeling pain, you're allowing it. And there are techniques, there are breathing techniques that will take it away. And if this is just a chronic thing and, I don't even remember what he said after that. I pretty much just checked out. But I remember feeling like shit. Like, what's wrong with me? I mean, I don't know. That was tough. And then another doctor, or no, I think maybe it was the same one. He said, no more doctors, okay? You've been to, urgent care, you've been to see me, and I can't remember who else it was, but he's like, you're fine. I'm like, what? How am I fine when my whole body is weak? I'm falling. Like, I was dizzy. My restless legs, the aches in my legs are so bad sometimes. I don't sleep. I lose my eyesight. and my eyes are so funky, even when the vision is mostly okay, they're still funky. They feel funky. And this British guy had the exact same problems. Hearing him say this, it was like, what? Oh. And to hear that he also was treated that way by doctors. And I'm not here to dog on our medical community. I mean, I think most of the time they have good intentions and they care. As much as they can, based on how busy they are. But to be shuffled from one doctor to another doctor to another doctor, they don't talk to each other, and then to receive messages like, well, maybe you should go see a counselor. They might be able to help you. I mean, nothing against counselors. Heck, I will see a counselor in a heartbeat when I need one. And I've been to one before. Like, I'm not ashamed. But I'm sorry. This is not something that a counselor can fix. If so, I would have fixed it 100 times already. So, I believe that everything comes down to money. I think our government, this is not a political statement at all, but I think that our government doesn't want to admit that they pushed this vaccine, because there are going to be a lot more people like me, and they don't want to admit it, because if they admit it, it's going to affect these mega pharmaceutical companies. And that can't happen because they're way more important than the people that they vaccinate. So but if somebody like me, I can't even talk, comes to you and says that they have symptoms like me, please understand it's not a counselor. I think just seeing that British guy and hearing that in his country he went through the same thing, exactly the same thing, I think it validates me a little bit. But also, another thing that's really difficult and is still difficult, nobody will give me an absolute, definitive diagnosis saying 100% it was COVID. Or, I mean, the vaccine. Nobody. I mean, my rheumatologist is the closest. I mean, I'm diagnosed with all of these individual things, like lupus and all of that. But nobody is willing to stand up and say, yes, if you look at the list of symptoms from the COVID vaccine injuries, I have every single one of them. Every single one. And I had them before I knew that that's what they were. So, and here's my arm, where I had the COVID vaccination almost 2 years ago. I had all that skin cut out. The tissue was already dead and gone, the subcutaneous tissue. But nobody is willing to stand up for me. I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for anything other than just to be validated. And maybe have them, ideally, pay some of my damn hospital bills. But even if they don't do that, I'm not even looking for an apology because it was so new. I understand. That's the thing. I willingly took the vaccine. I did. I was not forced. Nobody put a gun to my head. I willingly took the vaccine. So I don't blame them for that. But what I do blame them for, and probably most of the doctors, I just wish they would make this a priority for us and recognize the importance of admitting that yes, this is what it is, and understand that everything is tied together. I don't have all of these issues in separate silos. And I'll never forget, the cardiologist, rheumatologist, neurologist, nephrologist, they were all of course, separate places because they don't talk to each other. But all three of them, I think pretty independently, were saying that the issues that they were seeing had nothing to do with the other issues. And I'm like, but I never had any of these before. How can they not be related? And maybe they didn't know then, but it's so obvious now. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know I look ridiculous. And I don't care. Because if this is the only way we can get things to change, people to care, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about everybody else. Because they're still giving these vaccinations, and there are going to be other people after me. Believe me, I'm sick as shit. I'm so tired of being sick. I don't know what we can do. I don't know if it would help to write a letter to Congress to say, or I don't even know, write a letter to the governor to say, we need to do something. I don't know what. And it's not just our country, it's the world. But rather than telling the victims that they're crazy, maybe instead they could receive actual good medical care. That would be awesome. So, I pray that none of you ever have this. Be well.